Hey, this is Jeremiah with Alaska Adventure Boats. We're going to do a full walkthrough video of kind of concept, current design, and hopefully where we're headed with the Airboat-Project. The concept is to take an existing boat that you may have, preferably one that's got decent armor on the bottom like the Stryker, and be able to mount an air fan kit to it in order to have additional motor options. So this boat, during our testings thus far, has been able to run through shallower water than you'd be able to get through with a jet, and gives you the ability to run up on ice and snow. As you've seen probably some of our videos, we want to do some pretty dumb stuff with it thus far. So conceptually, that's kind of what we're shooting for. We do recognize there's probably a lot of other applications that have yet to be fully realized. We've got some ideas for what we'll eventually be looking to do with them. But as of right now, it's been just a lot of R&D, a lot of testing, a lot of prototyping, seeing what will work, what won't work, and then kind of just gonna keep going and keep building. And definitely not done yet. We've got a lot of ideas in the hopper that we're going to be implementing. So yeah, just going to walk you through what we've got going so far, and then kind of maybe some ideas of what we've got coming down the pipeline. So what we've got here, this is a Stryker 470, so it's 4.7 meters long, 470 centimeters, and this is an extreme tunnel jet. So we actually took one of the tunnel boats, not really necessary for a fan kit, but we took one of the tunnel boats because it's got the most robust armor on the market of any inflatable to date, being the 1.5 millimeter American-made TPU on the bottom of it. So we started with that. We've had this set up on our 420 Extreme, and this is the 470 Extreme. So versus a standard tunnel jet from Stryker, this one's about an 8-inch overall wider beam. It's got a 22-inch diameter tube. We figured if the fan kit could get this guy on step, it should be able to work even better with a little bit smaller boat, as this is a slightly less efficient hull design, just there's a little more drag in the water. It's a big flipping boat. What we've got up here is this is a cage, kind of a prefab kit from Bandit Air Drives out of Texas. Super good guy down there. He's been prefabbing these for a lot of different applications to include hovercrafts, small John boats. This cage is actually built with the idea of converting a John boat into a fan kit, putting a fan kit on a John boat, that is. And we decided we'd go ahead and take what he had already got going and do some adapting and do some fabrication and see if we can make it work on an inflatable. So with relatively minimal fabrication, we went ahead and fitted it to the Stryker. So we've got transom brackets, which actually bolted into the transom. You'll see there are other holes. This boat has been run with a jet motor quite extensively, and then you can convert back and forth from a jet motor to a fan kit and vice versa. The fan kit does not eliminate this boat's ability to be a jet boat. So we've got the transom brackets, which bolted in here. We've got the forward portion of the engine mount fan cage bolted into a rowing frame, which we've got lashed to kind of give it forward and aft stability, as well as, we're putting very different pressures on this transom. A jet motor is going to create thrust and push it downward, which is going to put kind of from this direction a counterclockwise or a backward shift on that transom. We obviously have a giant lever point here, and we're pushing forward on the transom. So even though the Stryker transoms are arguably the most robust and strongest transom on the market, as we've shown by mounting a 115/80 on this exact same boat to the tune of about 400 pounds. Due to the fact that we were actually rotating the transom in the opposite direction of how it was designed, we decided to go a little overkill on the bracing. So tied it into the rowing frame, just displacing the weight spread out over the tube. And then we've also got tie bars that mount to the rear portion of the cage. And fortunately, Stryker's got boxes where it's designed to be have launch wheels mounted. Those are the launch wheel boxes, and we just tied right into the launch wheel boxes. If you were going to try and do this on a different inflatable, I could see challenges stemming from inferior transoms. If you have an inflatable boat that's got a 2-piece transom, definitely some pretty intense reinforcement would be advised. Having the wheel boxes from Stryker made this kit a much more straightforward design. So with the Bandit Air Drives kit, it's going to come with essentially everything you need to do an airboat conversion on your John boat. This is not your typical John boat, so as such, motor placement was different than a John boat, and therefore all the steering linkages had to have been different. So there's a lot of modification. We've got tens of hours into just little tiny micro adjustments. Every one of these steering linkages had to be either shortened or lengthened. We've had to relocate some of the pivot brackets, some of the attachment points on the rudders. As a whole, nothing too crazy, but obviously we've got a stick mounted with an inflatable floor. So we had to come up with just little different fabrication points and different ideas to make every little thing work. So yeah, it's all in all, these are the linkages that come with a Bandit Air Drives kit, but they have been modified in order to accommodate the length, the placement, where we wanted things. Also, one of the additional hurdles we had to figure out was the placement of the cage and then how tall the transom is, interference and clearance with the transom. This kit was originally designed to mount in front of the transom, so all of our steering linkages had to work around the transom being the middle point of the frame and of the cage. So all in all, quite a bit of fabrication went into making this all work. We used a Briggs & Stratton EF540. This is one of their newer electronic throttle controlled motors. So there is no cable going to the throttle. So we had to get creative and figure out a solution using a fly-by-wire system. So this particular throttle operates the electronic throttle body through the ECU. So there's no cables, this is all wiring. We had to figure out a kill switch for this particular motor, which was fun. Had to get creative with relay placement. So there's just a lot of little bespoke one-off things in order to make this as a package work well and work safely. The Briggs & Stratton 40 horse is a shockingly big motor for 40 horsepower, but they're rated to be able to do constant load, constant duty for quite a few hours. It's an American-made V-twin, 1 liter 40 horse. So you'd expect a little more power out of it, but as such, it makes good consistent torque throughout the entire RPM range, which is something that we did need in order to effectively push something of this size, as well as something with this much drag in the water. This is quite a bit more drag than, say, a 1648 John boat or a 1448 John boat. So we needed something that really had a little bit of punch. We've obviously done custom exhaust. There wasn't a bolt-on muffler that would work exactly for our application, so the exhaust was fabricated all in-house. Obviously, big mufflers makes the motor overall pretty quiet. The fan's still pretty noisy. Briggs & Stratton motors are pretty notorious for fuel delivery issues, so we did add additional lift pumps just because of the amount of distance we're having to travel to fuel. Gives us the option to be able to put fuel tank placement kind of anywhere in the boat and not cause failure to the factory Briggs & Stratton fuel delivery system. So the lift pumps are pretty notorious for failure on the Briggs motors. So we've been playing around a lot with different pitches on the air drive, on the blades themselves. This is a Bandit Air Drives 54. This is actually a 56-inch prop. So Ben down at Bandit went ahead and shoved a little bigger prop in here for us. We're playing around with all sorts of different options just to try and get this thing to move as well as it can. Obviously it had no issues running on ice and snow. Once we get into the water, the power to weight ratio and the amount of drag caused by a bigger inflatable, it's such that with a lower pitch, we weren't moving enough air volume. With too high a pitch, we were running into power limitations, so we couldn't get the full RPM sweep out of it. So now with what we've got right now, it seems to be just kind of the perfect happy medium. This thing will run the full RPM range of the motor. It will actually get 3 guys on step in water. We were able to run upriver with 3 guys, and frankly, it didn't feel like much of a struggle. So from what we've felt thus far, we're anticipating to be able to run quite a bit more weight, quite a bit more gear. So ultimately, 3 guys and a decent amount of gear to the equivalent of around 800 to 900 pounds was the goal. If we can get about 800 to 900 pounds on step and upriver, this is going to accomplish a lot of the goals that we set out to do. So if we can't hit that 900-pound lift and push mark for on-water use, we will be looking at different power adders to try and get more out of this motor, because ultimately the motor is malleable, our goals are not. So we really are looking to have this thing do very specific goals that we've set out, and it's just trial and error. It's been a lot of fun kind of getting there. So that's the basic run through of the prototype fan boat, airboat, Stryker fan airboat, the airboat with the airboat. I don't know what to call it yet, but that's basically run through. As of right now, we are coming up to the Sportsman show. It's going to be March 7th through the 9th, which this will actually be there on display. It's ostentatious enough that figured it would turn some heads. So if you'd like to actually come and see it in person, you're welcome to come down and check it out. We'll have some one of the new concepts. We'll have one of the new Stryker tunnel prototype boats on display as well. So if you want to see kind of what's coming down the pipeline, with Alaska Adventure Boats, see what's going on in the pipeline with the Stryker boats. Sportsman show, 7th through the 9th at the Design Center here in Anchorage. Be a great time to come down, shake some hands, meet some people. If you do have any questions regarding the build thus far, kind of more detailed questions, if you're planning to build your own inflatable airboat, we are not looking to make this proprietary knowledge, obviously, by this video. This has just been a really fun project that we do think has some long-term implications, long-term use cases. I don't necessarily think that an air drive is going to be the solution for everyone. Frankly, outboard jet is a much more efficient design. It's a much faster design. It turns better, it handles better. So for 99% of people, a jet motor just simply makes more sense. But for those of us that have desires or needs outside of a conventional jet or a prop motor, this fan kit will give you some additional access. It will open up some additional months of use that you otherwise couldn't. So if you do have any questions, feel free to hit us up on Facebook. You can DM us, you can email us, sales@alaskaadventureboats.com, or you can always come by the shop downtown Anchorage. Talk to you guys soon.